Hi, I'm Briana Hetherington.
I'm Jen Hatcher. And I'm Kat Gottlieb.
Welcome to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. We are over the moon excited to share our wisdom, experiences, and valuable insights to becoming the best version of yourself.
How do we deal with people who might have a very negative tendency? How do you protect your energy when you have to interact with them?
Welcome to the Conscious Creator Community, where we dive into all things motivational, inspirational, and soulful. I'm your host, Briana Hetherington. And along me are two incredible co-hosts, Miss Kat Gottlieb and Jen Hatcher. Together, we're here to inspire, empower, and guide you on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. This is a space where we break through barriers, challenge our own thinking, and step into the highest version of ourselves. Today, we're tackling a topic that is at the core of personal self-discovery and transformation. What if the beliefs you have carried for many years are the very thing keeping you stuck and holding you back? What if the habits shaping your daily life are quietly holding you back from your full potential? In this episode today, we're dismantling those limitations and rewiring your mindset for true growth and transformation. What are limiting beliefs? These are thoughts, stories, or subconscious narratives that we create and tell ourselves that we can or cannot do something. Or maybe somebody has told us something that we believed about ourselves, that we weren't smart enough, strong enough, or capable. These often come from past experiences. And it's narratives that have been created over time and stay deep within us. These come from social expectations or things we've been told when we were young children. So, Kat, can you share a little bit about what a paradigm shift is to you and what are some limiting beliefs that you've experienced?
Any belief that you have, fill in the blank, when asked that question, something comes to our mind, right? We're like, oh yeah, I'm not this. That is a limiting belief because who says you're not good at that? When you really drill down and you do some soul searching on that, Brie, like you said, it usually originates from something that happened in our past or something that somebody told us that we believed. And it took me a long time to get to a place where you don't have to believe other people's opinions about yourself. It took me forever to realize that maybe their opinion of me was wrong. But most of us have those things, like somebody close to us said, you can't do that. We don't know their motivations for saying it. I look at my own parents who were very loving, devoted parents. Their motivation was to keep us kids safe. So they kept us small. So the messages we got from them was, don't do anything too crazy. Don't go anywhere. But how I read that myself is, you're not capable. So don't even try. For anybody listening here who had parents who were really good at encouraging them and believing in them, man, you were the lucky ones. Because I think a lot of us probably had parents who we don't know their motivations, might not have given us all the encouragement that we wish we would have gotten. So a paradigm shift is when you finally decide once and for all that you're going to choose who you are and what worth you have, and nobody going to tell you anything different. That's the paradigm shift that we want to talk about and encourage today.
I want to layer on that, even how you show up, right? I just pulled my shoulders back. Am I showing up the way I want to? And layering on what you said, Kat, paradigm shift comes when you acknowledge it and when you deliberately make change. But you might have a negative mindset that you don't even realize you've adopted. And it may or may not be from something that somebody deliberately told you. It may be from hearing the things that are happening in your family, the conversations, not even hearing, but feeling the tone and the mood of everything is hard. We don't have enough. I don't deserve this because of this. I mean, you name it, it goes layers and layers and probably generations deep. So it really takes courage to not only acknowledge, oh gosh, I don't like the way that feels. And I'm going to
Mm.
choose to tell myself something. And not only am I going to tell myself something different, but I'm going to live something different. There are layers and there are definitely steps to that paradigm shift.
I love that analogy, Jen. I think it is layers. We're all like onions and we have multiple layers of everything that we're trying to improve in our life. Limiting beliefs is a multi-layered onion that we need to unwrap for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when you look at a paradigm shift, what is that made up of? I like to break it down by our thoughts, what we feel, because when we have a thought, that creates a feeling within us. And that feeling then turns into a belief about ourselves and the world around us. And that belief then leads into an action, some sort of action or behavior that we have. And that behavior and action then turns into a subconscious habit, something that we just are and we are identifying with. So when I think about, we all have like 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. And subconsciously, 90% of what I thought yesterday, I'm going to think today. And 95% of what I did yesterday, I'm going to do today. So when you really look at that, there's a small conscious state where you're going to shift that paradigm and start to think different, feel different, believe different things, and behave in a different way. To me, that's how we shift the paradigm.
I love that. Nobody can choose what you think. I think when I was told that or became aware of that idea, like nobody can tell me what to think. They can say stuff to my face, but they cannot tell me how to think. When you own your thoughts, then you can start to challenge those and make the paradigm shifts. You can start to say, I choose not to go there in my thoughts anymore. Like, I'm just not going to do that. And that's life-changing when you can get to that point.
Well, I think that's a really good fact. And honestly, like that was such a hard thing to understand. It's like, okay, you have all these thoughts, 60,000 a day, and they're just like going over and over in your brain, but you're not those thoughts. You're actually the awareness behind them. Once you understand that just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean that it's true and that you're actually the awareness behind that. One book that I will mention here is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. He talks about that voice in your head and identifying that you're the awareness behind that voice. So I look at it like, okay, I have all these thoughts and they're just floating through the clouds, right? And I'm the observer of them. I'm not judging myself if a bad one comes, but if a bad one does come, I'm the observer. I get to say, you know what? I see that this thought keeps showing up and I really want to shift it. I want to change it because it doesn't make me feel good. And we have to recognize that if I'm thinking in my head, like, oh my gosh, I can't afford this, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not capable, or I'm a mess, what is that releasing in my body? So that thought is releasing a feeling, and that feeling is releasing a chemical in the body. And that chemical is a stress hormone called cortisol. However, on the flip side of that, if we're looking at, I am abundant, I am love, I am conscious, I am aware, I am worthy, I am capable. If I'm having thoughts like that, guess what I'm releasing in my body? Oxytocin,
Yep.
dopamine, endorphins, and I'm going to feel good about who I am and what I'm doing. The easiest way, if you're feeling stuck and unmotivated and just feeling like, oh, like you're just not enough, the quickest way to snap out of it is to practice gratitude. And because gratitude automatically is going to release that oxytocin. I'm so grateful for Kat. I'm so grateful for Jennifer, the roof over my head, my family. All of a sudden, I start elevating that frequency and start feeling better. It's as simple as that and free to all of us.
One of the important things you mentioned, Bree, is the idea of our thoughts and emotions. It's a very simple question, but very complex answer. Do your thoughts make you feel good? It's very easy to confuse what feeling good means. Feeling good means it builds me up, makes me feel expanded, raises my frequency. These are things that maybe a lot of listeners might be hearing this going, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't get it. Sometimes we mistake feeling good for the short fixes we've all done to feel good, mood enhancing things or quick hits of dopamine that you get when you see a funny kitten video on social media. Yes, that does make you feel good, but the feel good emotions we're talking about are more solid, substantial, peaceful feelings from your thoughts. Becoming aware of how your thoughts make you feel and then understanding what that feeling is rooted in, is a really important step in this whole process.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, just because it can be overwhelming. Like I said, we have 60,000 thoughts. How do I get a handle on all of them? That can just feel like so much. But again, don't judge yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace, because we've all been conditioned since the time we were so little on what we're supposed to think, what we're supposed to feel, what we're supposed to watch, what we're supposed to do, all these things. And it's our decision to make a change. And that's what I feel so hopeful, that we can choose happiness. We can choose really good thoughts. And it's like anything else. It takes time. It's like if I go to the gym, right? And I'm really excited. I want to get, a little bit more muscles. I'm lifting. I'm not going to see results after a day, 2 days, a week, maybe 2 weeks. I might get a little something, but 3 weeks I'm into it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. 4 weeks, wow. It's the same with your brain. The way that our brain works, it really works through neuroplasticity. And when you look at neuroplasticity and how your brain's wired, right, you have all these different neural pathways, and they've been created since the time you were in the womb. So you come out of the womb and you have all of these different neural pathways. Well, you can't erase these neural pathways, but you can overwrite them. So you can overwrite them almost like a code, like a program on a computer or something like that, but it takes time. So one thing that I would recommend, if you're really looking to change the way that you think and you really want to start seeing different things show up in your mind, because I can share, I went through a very dark period where I just couldn't get rid of these thoughts. And I'm just like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And so what I started doing is I just started observing, okay, what are these thoughts that keep showing up? And I just started writing them down. Okay. Now I'm writing them down. I'm starting to become aware that I'm having these thoughts and they're making me feel this way. Like this is why I'm feeling this way. It's because I'm having these thoughts. And then I took it a step further. So the first week was really just identifying it. And then the second week was, what can I replace these thoughts with? So, one of my thoughts was just stuck in limiting beliefs around my finances and stuck in it so deep and just, I can't afford it. It's too expensive. I'm not going to be able to do that. And just in this rut. Well, no, I shifted that and said, you know what? I am abundant. I am wealthy. I am capable of doing these things. And so, I started to just write that. First week, nothing really changed, to be honest with you. Second week, not a whole lot changing. But by that third week, I'm waking up and I'm thinking I'm abundant. I'm worthy. I'm capable. And I'm starting to feel different. And it's these micro changes that you're going to hear us talk about of, listen, we're not going to change it all overnight, but if we can focus and just pick one thought to start out with that we can replace and start to feel a little bit better. And each day, just keep working towards that. And to me, you'll hear us a lot talk about affirmations on this podcast and affirming to yourself really positive, bold statements about who you are or who you want to become, and believing it and living in that. Another thing that I'd love to share with you guys that's a quick little get up is we all brush our teeth every day, right? I hope. And we're supposed to do it for 2 minutes a day. So one way to kick off the day is start the day brushing your teeth. And while you're brushing your teeth, either list a couple things you're grateful for just to elevate and feel good and release oxytocin, start your day feeling good. And then start to think, what do I think about while I'm brushing my teeth? That's a great thing to just change. It's a tiny little habit that you can change every day and start to think, you know what? I am peace. I am capable. I am beautiful. I got this.
Yeah.
And I'm showing up as my best self. Whatever it is for you that you want to work on, just start it.
Yeah.
Start it little by little and give yourself grace in that.
I do
I was just gonna.
squats while I'm brushing my teeth, by the way.
Oh,
Multitasking, right? How many times in a day do you fit in squats? Most
Yeah.
people never, unless you're actively working
Right.
out. So when
yeah.
Bree talks about micro motions, I do squats while I'm brushing my teeth because why
amazing.
not, right?
Yeah.
That's
But I
amazing.
so I have a set of 10 affirmations that not only count out my squats, but then I'm also brushing my teeth. This is a lot of multitasking going on. Be careful when you start this. But it's also my repeat then, right? Of going through those positive affirmations and getting in some squats and brushing my teeth. That's like mom multitasking at its finest.
That is very admirable. Love that. And I love the idea that Bree, you mentioned about giving yourself grace. What everybody needs to know is there's not one human being on this planet who is perfectly positive all the time, right?
Right.
We all have, they've done a study on this. It's called a negative bias, that something like the average person, 75% of all their thoughts, so that was 75% of 60,000 thoughts, are in the negative slant. And they say that this probably originates from our fight or flight, our very ancient part of our brain that was always scanning the environment. But nowadays, we no longer need that negative bias, right? So when you find yourself flitting through some negativities, you can stop yourself now. And if you become aware, congratulate yourself. Awareness is step number one. So when you catch yourself in the negative mindset, I am a big believer in journaling. Write it down and just write these thoughts down. And you get to the end of the week and you look at all these things and thoughts, then you can start to go back and say, oh, I go negative whenever this happens to me, or whenever this person or energy is around me, I go negative. Oh, okay. So if I want to stop being that way, I've got to break that chain reaction. And the more you can look at your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior, and really analyze, okay, how can I snip that chain reaction?
Nobody's happy all the time. Nobody's sunshine and rainbows and unicorn and puppy dogs. Even though I like to be those things, and I know both of you do most of the time, it's just not realistic, right? When I catch myself in a spiral in my work world, sometimes days get really intense and I will find myself on this path. One of the things that I do to check myself real time is remember one of two really simple quotes, and I'll share them both. One of them is thoughts become things, right? So I have to be really careful and check my thoughts, because if I feel like it's hard or it's frustrating or this is escalating or whatever, what am I actually creating by feeding into that and thinking it? So that's one of the things, that's one of the quotes that I use to check myself in the moment. Thoughts become things. And again, what am I thinking? Because do I want the potential outcome of this? So that is one. And the other one that I thought of when, I don't know, it was sometime this weekend and I was hanging out with some relatives that lean towards the negative side. I caught myself in the moment and I remembered where my thoughts go, my energy flows. Just because I was around other energy I didn't want to feel, I didn't need to match my thoughts to where their thoughts. And we said this way earlier, right? You are in control of your thoughts. Nobody else can tell you how or what to think, but they are not in control of what happens inside your body and inside your head. And so that was another real-time check for me of like, oh, I don't want my energy to flow there. I don't like how that feels. Therefore, I'm going to check my thoughts.
That's
powerful.
a good one. And you hit on something, we all have people around us, right? And how do we deal with people who might have a very negative tendency? How do you protect your energy when you have to interact with them? That's a big topic.
When you're tied in knots by the people around you, how do you untie and prevent that from happening?
Bringing up like that awareness piece, I think, is the here, because Listen, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, sometimes we aren't present in the moment, and we need to be present in the moment. Get lost in the past and we get stuck there. And,
Yeah.
I'm, we're all human and it happens and we can sit with it, but it's how quick can you pull yourself out of it? And that is
Bingo.
the piece that I've learned, that I start to love myself more and I'm proud of myself when I keep myself out of it. So let me kind of break it for you. So there's the past, right? There is this present extraordinary moment, and there is the future. And we often feel in the future very anxious about it coming. We're creating stories, it hasn't happened yet. And we're having these thoughts about it. And sometimes we can get lost in these thoughts for could be an hour at a time, could be 2 hours. Some people get lost for weeks or years. But
Yeah.
what how quickly can you come back to the present moment? So I'm going to recommend for this that completely shifted my life is called The Power of Now by Eckhart
Mm.
Tolle. And I really couldn't understand the extraordinary value of the present moment because I was always just so anxious to be in the future and I'm always working towards it. Or
Yeah.
we can as easily get stuck in the past and we can live in the past. Maybe it was we had a relationship before, we had a different career, or we played, a sport and we were stuck in the past of what's going to be next for us. And sometimes what happens is we hold on to those identities and the people that we are with those identities. And I think when you really look at it, you can get lost in these things, the past, the future, but you just focus and come back to this present moment. You will calm your nervous system. Everything will be okay in this present moment. And I think that is just extraordinary. And one technique that I use to bring that awareness back and come back to the present moment when I feel myself stuck in the past or too far in the future is my breath and focusing on my breath. When we breathe, there's no thought. So the more that we focus on just breathing, you recognize that that calms you down and there's no thought. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that with you guys that anytime you're feeling like just overwhelmed or anxious, or maybe you're depressed, like come back to this present moment, focus on this present moment and try to just list 10 things you're grateful for. And that's going to
Yeah.
help just elevate you in the present moment to feel differently and to feel really good.
I love that. I would also recommend another thing that can help as meditation. And you
Ooh.
can do 10-minute guided meditation. My absolute favorite is a man named Chibs Okari. And he is just such a calming voice. My husband even knows he is now my meditation crush. Yeah, that's it.
With Buddy Cat.
Yeah. Because what he does in his meditations, he does the breath work, right?
Right.
And he also says things like, no, if your mind goes off and starts thinking about a lot of thoughts, it's okay. That's what brains do. And
Right.
it was so calming to me. Then I'm like, it's like I don't have to now have negative thoughts about my brain having negative thoughts. I can be like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what a brain does. And I don't know why it was so incredibly comforting to me. You can fit in a 10-minute meditation anywhere. I've done it before, like just sitting in my car before I have to enter into a situation where maybe I was feeling a little anxious about. And, you can just sit for 10 minutes anywhere, close your office door. You can go anywhere for a 10-minute little meditation. If you can use that to bring your breath and your whole system back to a calm, present moment, it has made such a change for me. It's incredible.
Yeah,
So,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, meditation is a magical, powerful tool for all of us, readily available, free. And I do
yeah,
recommend, listen, guys, it's the same exact thing with going to the gym. Don't get in there thinking you're going to do an hour out of the gates and be able to just lay there because your brain's like, what? I have things to do. I have to get up and I have to move around. And you're retraining yourself. And I
yeah,
remember when I first started meditating, my brain was like, nope, you're getting up and you have things to do. There's laundry needed to be done. There's dishes needed to be done. There was no relaxing. But I think if you can challenge yourself, and I did challenge these two ladies to 21 days, start just small. Start with maybe 2 to 5 minutes and let that build. Week 2, throw another minute on there. Week 3, throw another minute. You're going to start to rewire. You're going to start to learn to calm down that nervous system. And so what I'll share with you guys is there's 3 simple steps really to be able to identify and rewire these limiting beliefs that we all experience. Step 1 is that awareness, right? Identify that belief, number 1. Step 2 is going to be challenge that belief. Ask it. Is it even true? And step 3 is reframe it. You are the creator. Rewrite the narrative. You are the author. You are the captain of the ship. So you have the opportunity to rewrite it.
I think that's such a good thing. It's a great exercise if you ever want to, it's like people who might like debate when they were in high school or whatever. Okay, put a limiting belief on write it at the top of a piece of paper, and then fill the rest of the paper with the argument why that limiting belief is false. And just let yourself just have fun. Just like, just debate the heck out of that limited belief. But then reread it and then go, yeah, so why do I believe this about myself? Because I now have a full page of arguments why it is not true. And, it's just helpful things like that helps to like break that nut in your head, that redundant thought that you assume is now fact because you've thought it for so long. Challenge it and really overwhelm yourself with reasons why it is not the truth, that it is not your limited belief anymore. And it will start to sink in. It really will. If you just keep loving layers and layers of love and acceptance and forgiveness for yourself, and it will make a huge change.
Well, now that we've talked about rewriting our limiting beliefs, let's try to give you just a couple tools and tips to reinforce that. So tip number 1, we talked a little bit about journaling prompts. Journaling is powerful. It is how our brain can rewire the neuroplasticity. I'm a big person. I love digital stuff. I could type all day, but actually writing with a pen and paper can transform your entire mindset. Tip 2 I'm going to talk about is visualization. If you can write it, you can feel it, and you can visualize it in the mind. You need to see it in the mind so that you can bring it into your reality. And tip 3 is going to be consciously choosing to shift the language you use to speak to yourself through affirmation. Ask yourself, secondly, is this really true? What your coach told you, or a friend in high school, or your parents, is it true? And then I would really start to explore, and this is my favorite because it's like, there's no better journey than getting to know your own self and who you truly are. Where on earth did this belief come from? Last but not least, how can I rewrite it into something empowering that's going to make me feel good? And if you want to share in the comments below, feel free to do that. And we're happy to engage and help you guys come up with some really empowering affirmations to help you shift your limiting beliefs. So thank you so, so much for tuning in to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. We are so, so grateful. Be sure to listen and stay up to date, and feel free to subscribe below so you don't miss next week's episode. We just couldn't do this without you guys, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you. You are each powerful beyond measure, and the life you desire starts with the beliefs and the thoughts you choose today. So we are here to support and encourage you to step into the highest version of you. Thank you guys so much.